Hello and welcome to everyone across the nation joining today's workshop on how to manage testing sessions. This is Martha Perez with the CASAS Technology Support Team, and I will be presenting today's workshop. This workshop focuses on using CASAS e-tests online to manage multiple testing sessions simultaneously to deliver CASAS web-based tests to any type of student, new, current, and returning, using different test series, form levels, and modalities. A certified proctor performs these steps in combination with administering tests. This is one of 23 complimentary CASAS Online Implementation Basics workshops. We highly recommend attending as many workshops possible to learn about best practices and ask questions to become confident in using the online system. Online help is available on our website from training and support, eTests online help, and TOPS Pro Enterprise help. You will want to be sure and bookmark these as your electronic go-to resources. Electronic resources are updated periodically, so going to them will help to ensure you are receiving the most current information. Now, information for today's workshop comes from eTest Online Help in the online user guide. All right. Now, let me go to sections 4.1 and 4.2, Managing Sessions and Managing Sessions Guidelines. Okay. Again, you will want to be sure to bookmark this as an electronic resource. The guide has hyperlinks throughout to help you move quickly between sections. You can also search keywords to pinpoint specific information. All right. Now, before we get started, I want to be sure and point out where you will find access to CASAS eTests Online and TOPS Pro Enterprise Online. Now, notice the URLs I just pasted in the chat box, please. Now, this is the main domain name address you will use when your agency is set up with an online database. This is commonly referred to as a production server where live data is produced. Now, for today's workshop, we will be using a simulation server. Okay, this is available to anyone wanting to experiment and explore our online system without risk of compromising live data. Now, you will find information on how to access the simulation server from our website under Training and Support, eTests Online Help, Getting Started, and download the simulation server document. All right, well, let's begin, and please feel free to ask questions along the way. CASAS identified two primary duties of a proctor as managing sessions and administering tests. Now, this workshop will focus on managing sessions, and the workshop following this is on administering tests. Okay. Now, proctors must complete certification to administer CASAS web-based tests. Right? All proctors must do their part to maintain a controlled testing environment that will allow test takers to perform to the very best of their abilities. Proctors should follow the same procedures before, during, and after conducting testing sessions. Following these procedures assures the validity of test results and reduces the likelihood of confusion or error during test administration. Now, we recommend that you provide Section 4, displayed here, from the online user guide to all proctors for test administration directions and guidelines. Now, proctors manage sessions through the CASAS eTests Online Management Console. To access, Launch the web browser using the Rolling Hills simulation server. Now from the main domain web page, click Sign In. The proctor enters the user credentials. Now the agency ID is issued by CASAS. For the simulation server, enter 4908. That's our agency. Now the username is issued by the agency. Okay. The username, we recommend the email address used for certification, the one that they used for certification. Now for the simulation server, enter a generic user account for proctors. Use a number from 1 to 50 after proctor, as shown here. proctor33@rhas.org. This is the account that I'll be using today. Now, a temporary password is initially issued by the agency. Now, temporary passwords should be changed after first accessing the online system. Now, for the simulation server, use the word proctor, all lowercase. Okay. And after entering login credentials or user credentials, click Login. Okay. Now, from Application Management, a list, we're going to click on Testing Sessions, where a list of testing sessions displays. Now, this list is commonly referred to as the testing sessions lister. Now, by default, the list is filtered by available sessions in the current program year and by site and then by session name. Now, each of these columns is clickable to change the sort order, okay, as desired. Now, because the list of testing sessions may grow over time, proctors should be trained to filter or to sort order. So they should be trained that after they sign in, they should filter the testing sessions list to search for sessions that are only available at the site and in the lab where they will be administering tests. Now, to do this, direct proctors to click and expand the filter at the top of the testing sessions list to search for and minimize the list of sessions displayed. Now, if a proctor is assigned to conduct intake at the North Campus, from the filter, click the drop-down menu in the site field. Select North Campus. Now, in description field, click the drop-down menu, select Starts With, enter Intake, and then click Refresh. The Enter button will not do anything for you, so don't forget to click the Refresh button. Now, if I filtered a list of 3 intake sessions, as you may see, at the North Campus. Now, North Campus now displays in the list of testing sessions because that's what I chose. Now, collapse the filter by clicking the filter arrow. Now, you have a minimized list of sessions displayed that the proctor will manage while administering tests. A common mistake first-time online proctors make is attempting to administer a test before starting sessions. Now, starting a test session is similar to passing out test booklets in a paper-based world. If you forget to start a session, then in a sense, kind of like you forgot to pass out test booklets. Here is an example of what happens at the testing station when you forget to start a session. Now, let's pretend we're now at the testing station. We'll click Administer Test, run the executable file. Now, the application displays or should display a refresh button. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I believe this station has been added, oh my gosh, by error. So bear with me. Let me just fix something really quick behind the scenes here. Bear with me. My station has been added against my will, if I may say. So sorry about that, folks. Now let's carry on. I was explaining to administer a test. This is what will happen at the station. There is no test session scheduled to start. Okay, a refresh button in place of an ID input field should display. Now this is a test security feature, right? Like I said, the message displays on the screen to notify the student to please wait for your session to start. Now we're planning to change this message to read instead, please wait for your proctor to start the session or add your station to an active session. All right, folks. Sorry about that. Now going back to my sessions lister here. First time online proctors tend to forget they must also stop sessions. Okay. When this happens, the session status will automatically turn to suspend. Now, however, forgetting to stop sessions is not good practice because the session will remain active even after testing is finished and before the session suspends or times out. Therefore, stopping sessions when testing is finished is equally important for test security and similar to collecting test booklets after testing is finished in a paper-based world. Now, each proctor is responsible for managing sessions and stations registered in the lab where they are proctoring. It is not appropriate for proctors to use or manage stations from other labs. Now let's say we're planning to proctor intake at the North Campus. We're going to click Start for the Intake Locator plus Pretest. Proctors will acknowledge their responsibilities, all right, and duties throughout the duration of the testing session. Using the drop-down menu, they will also specify the maximum hours they are assigned or scheduled to proctor testing. Now click Start. After starting the session, a session activity window displays for the proctor to manage the active session. On the top left, the header displays the name of the session that was started, the site, the logged on proctor, and the status of session. Click Show Configuration to view configuration settings in effect for the session. Testing stations will deliver tests based on configuration of the testing session. You can click Close. In the top right of the header, when the session is available, will display dates and times when this session is available. Date when the session was started and time remaining for the session to supervise testing. Now click Manage to suspend the session, to continue a suspended session, stop this session, and cancel that thought. Now, Manage may also be used to add more hours if needed so that the session does not time out before students are finished testing. So let me display that again. All right. Now, at bottom right of the session activity window are options. Oh, I'm sorry, at bottom right, at bottom left as well. So there are options to filter stations in the session and add stations at the bottom left. From the pop-up window, click Stations and add them to the session. Now, based on recommended best practices, don't assign stations when creating sessions. Instead, use stations on an ad hoc basis to give you maximum flexibility of using any station at any time for any testing purpose. Now, stations added to the session. Okay, students logged on to a station, the test form presented to the student, when the test was started, how much time remains, and the number of questions answered, when the student last responded, and or class ID if assigned to the test record. Now, to return to the testing sessions list, at the top right, click the back link. Now, back at the testing sessions lister at right, it now displays that the proctor who started the session and the status of sessions. All user activity is tracked and logged in the online system. Now, session status may be inactive, active, suspended, or expired. Now at left in the testing sessions lister are buttons to manage sessions. Now notice after we started the locator plus pretest intake session, they changed from start to manage, as you can see. Now proctors do not have access rights to edit or copy any testing sessions. Now if they click on one of these buttons such as edit, a message displays that you don't have the right to perform this operation. They can't do this action. Okay, now we'll click OK. Now to return to the testing sessions list, at the top right, click the back link. Generally, proctors manage sessions from the testing sessions menu or lister when supervising more than one session at a time. Okay. Proctors may have multiple sessions running simultaneously in one same lab. Okay. Now I'm going to filter again for my session located at the North Campus. Description starts with intake, and then click refresh again, as the enter button will not do anything. Retract the filter, and here is the session that I started. Okay. Now, if testing sessions are scheduled closely throughout the day, then they may remain active provided a proctor remains in the lab at all times. Proctors may suspend the session without stopping the session if they need to take a break or leave the lab if no one is testing. Now, not stopping or suspending a session leaves open the opportunity for anyone to take a test in a non-proctored environment, which poses a risk of test security. Now, to suspend a session, click Manage from Testing Sessions or Session Activity window, and click the Suspend button from this pop-up window. Now, proctors should also log out of the application when leaving the lab for a break. Now, from the Testing Sessions window, click the back link at the top right. From the Application Management window, again, click the Logout at the top right. Okay, now upon return, proctors log in to continue a suspended session. Like I said at the beginning, for the simulation server, you can use agency 4908, user, proctor, the word proctor for proctor accounts, and any number between 1 and 50 at rhas.org, and the word proctor, all lowercase, for password. And then click login. Now we have logged back in and click the testing sessions menu. Filter for our North Campus starts with intake and click refresh, as the enter button again will not do anything for us. Okay. See how this, well, I collapsed the filter, and see how this session will show as suspended. Let's click manage. Okay. To continue. Now from the pop-up acknowledge responsibilities, from the drop-down menu, you can select the maximum hours. Again, I will select my hours and then click continue. Okay. Now monitoring session activity. Now you're going to continue now with monitoring session activity and managing sessions. Now, a proctor may take over another proctor's session if needed when students are actively testing and the session cannot be suspended or stopped. For example, Proctor 23 should log out of the management console and no longer supervise this test administration. Log out. Okay. Now the proctor who will take over the session should log in. In this case is Proctor 34. Okay. Now click the testing sessions menu and filter for intake session at the North Campus. Click the refresh button and retract the filter. Now please take note that logged on user at the top right, Proctor 23, 24, and also the Proctor log on to the locator session is Proctor 23. Okay, so click the Manage button for the locator session and then set supervisory hours. I'm going to change my supervisory hours and click to take over. Click the Take Over button. Now notice in the session activity header now shows that the logon proctor is Proctor 34, as well as the supervisor, Proctor 34. Okay. Now the activity will be tracked and logged for the locator session under supervision of Proctor 34. Okay. Proctor 34 may also start any other sessions if needed. Now, to give you maximum flexibility if using any station to deliver tests for any purpose, we recommend not assigning stations to sessions. You may start multiple sessions in a lab and add stations registered for the lab on an ad hoc basis. Now, for example, at the testing station, the proctor may identify the station where a student, let me go here, where a student is seated from information displayed in the header and top of the testing station screen. From the management console, let me go back to my management console. The proctor adds the station to an active session by clicking the Add Stations button. Now, stations may be moved from one session to another wherever needed. Now, because the station we want to use, let me go back to the testing sessions menu. Now, because the station we want to use is already added to the locator session and we want to use it for another session, you can click the view on a locator session our locator session and remove the station from the session. And now click OK from the pop-up message to confirm removal. Now click the back link. Okay. And return to the testing sessions menu. Now click View on the Begin Literacy session. I'm going to start this first. Acknowledge my times and go back to my sessions. Now as this session is already started, click the View on the Beginning Literacy session, and at the bottom of the session activity window, click Add Stations. Select the station and click Add. Now the station is now added to the Beginning Literacy session. Now when a station is added to an active session, the ID input field displays on the testing station. When testing is finished for the session, proctors should click the exit link at the top right each testing station to close the testing application. Okay. Now from the management console, as we are right now, click the Manage and Stop to stop the session. Now you may need to refresh the testing sessions list if needed, and then click Manage. Okay, then click Manage to stop the remaining sessions. There we go. Since we are finished working in the eTest Management Console, click the back link and at the top right of the Management Console screen to return to the main menu. And this returns you to the login screen. Oh no, then first I need to click the log out so it can return me to the login screen. Okay. Now, however, you are not completely disconnected from the server. Now, for security purposes, exit the application at the top left by clicking the web browser back arrow. Now you are completely disconnected from the server and return to the main domain web page where you started. Okay. Are there any questions about managing sessions before we wrap it up? All right, well, I will take that as a no. Now, each workshop in a set of CASAS Online Implementation Basics builds on to the last in a logical progression for helping you to get up and running with the online system. Now, if you miss a workshop, we posted a playlist from past work recordings so that you may review a previously attended workshop or preview upcoming workshops. Now you can access them from Training and Support, eTest Online Help, Workshop Recordings, CASAS Online Implementation Basics, or you can also access them from our social media newsroom and click on the YouTube channel. Okay. Now please note the information I pasted in the chat box about Technology Support Team. The support team is available to provide any technical assistance you may need to ensure successful implementation. Now, this email address alerts a support team that includes several members, and communicating to the larger group will help us to ensure you receive a timely response. Now, team members are available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. Now, we look forward to you joining us for the next workshop on how to administer tests. Thank you for your time, and this concludes the workshop on how to manage testing sessions.